And we are live. Good morning. Welcome to Collaboration Conversations. I am your host, Regina Partain Bergman, CEO of Bridgeport Strategy and co-founder of the CEO Holy Grail. I am excited this morning to introduce you to a group of folks that I am so excited to learn more about. My guest co-host this morning is Kim Willis. And Kim is a partner and CEO at Case Study Monkey, as well as a partner in Persuasion Pursuit. And I can't wait to hear more about Case Study Monkey as we go along. I'm sure that will come in somewhere here. Welcome, Kim. Thank you for being our guest co-host this morning.
Thanks for the opportunity, Regina.
We're laughing because we've had
some
tech issues this morning. Yes, and we're live. This is what happens. We deal with it as we go, right? Kim, would you please share a bit about your journey with our audience? Let them know what's brought you to this place that you are now and who you serve and why.
Right. Okay. Thank you. Thanks very much. Oh, dear. It had to happen to me, didn't it? The technical glitch. Me being a tech phobe. Oh, dear. Anyway, lucky it was sorted out. I think what happened was that the external microphone was causing some kind of a problem, and I accidentally pulled it out, and then everything started to work. So anyway, well, my journey started in the world of small business, sales and marketing, whatever, when I was 19 years of age, and I was knocking on doors trying to sell books. Door to door. They were health books. This was in Sydney, Australia. And I was doing very badly, I can tell you what. And so at the end of that first week, my commitment was to phone the national sales manager who was training me and quit. I cannot stand knocking on doors. It's just not my cup of tea as a 19-year-old. And he said, well, look, so I phoned him and he said, look, before you quit, you've already told me that your mother was looking forward to seeing how I handled the challenge, because I was a shy guy, and you wouldn't want to let her down, would you? What a classic. And I said, well, no, not really. He said, look, I'll do you a favor. And this guy was the #1 seller in the world. And I will come out with you on Monday and we'll knock on some doors and we'll see what happens. Will you do that? I said, okay. No, I was terrified because he was the #1 in the world.
Right.
So we come to Monday. Yeah, he beat the Americans. It was an American product. It was an American health, 2-volume health program. And but he beat the Americans at the door-to-door thing. So, and I was terrified. By the time Monday morning came, I was terrified because I knew I had to perform in front of him. His name was Stan Rex. And so anyway, he said, look, let's just knock on some doors and see what happens, see if someone will let us in so we can have a talk to them. And after, 15, 20 minutes, someone said, yeah. So we went in there. And he said, look, I won't say anything. I'll just be very quiet. I don't want to intrude. I just want to hear what's happening. So I did the presentation. And, of course, as per the previous week, no sale. We walked out and he said, is that more or less how you do it, how you were doing it last week? I said, yeah, pretty much. He said, okay, well, let's see if we can find someone else. And so kept walking. I don't know how long it was for. And got into someone else's house. I did the presentation and failed again. So by this stage, I was feeling quite despondent, especially knowing the #1 seller in the world was watching me. So he said, look, let's call it quits for the day. But before we do, we need to have a debrief. Let's go to the local McDonald's and we'll have, some fries and orange juice or something like that. And I said, okay. So did the debrief and he threw it back to me. He said, look, just think analytically. Think about how you, what you learned from the formal training 2 weeks ago and let's and then tell me if there's anything that you learned from the formal training that you weren't actually doing when you were talking to those people. And I said, well, I didn't ask questions very much. And he said, yeah, why was that? I said, I was nervous of the answer. They say, go away. He said, okay. And anything else? I said, well, I know I didn't tell any story, or I told one or two, but I didn't tell them with much conviction stories, right? So he said, you nailed it. They're the two things. So you did learn something from the training. You just didn't execute it in the real world. And that happens a lot. I think many of us can relate to that truth. He said, and then he gave me some pointers. We did a little bit of rehearsal. He said, just go home, think about, talk to your mum, and maybe rehearse in front of the mirror or something like that, and then go out by yourself tomorrow, being Tuesday. So that's exactly what happened. I didn't make a sale on Tuesday, but I made it on Wednesday. But even though I didn't make a sale on Tuesday, I felt better. I felt better as a result of what happened the day before. I had the mentor there. He was very good to me, very nice, helpful. He didn't sort of rip shreds off me or anything like that. And it gave me a boost of confidence. So, and when I did go out on the Tuesday, I know I was better, sharing stories, success stories and things like that. And I was definitely better at asking questions and listening closely to the answers. So anyway, I made a sale, not on the Tuesday, but on the Wednesday. And then I made a bunch of sales after that. And I left about 3 or 4 months later because honestly, knocking on doors was not my gig. But I just decided to double down, persevere, and prove that I could do something of value and, give people a good product, make some money, and be able to tell the story, which I'm telling to you now all these years later. And the reason why I share that story is because it really represents the starting point of my career in sales and marketing and in the world of business, running businesses, building them. And I'm still, nothing fundamentally has changed. A lot of detail things have changed, of course. We're in the modern era now. But I'm still telling stories. Yeah. And now people pay me to create stories for them, customer stories, brand stories, founder stories. And I'm still asking questions and listening closely to the answers as pastor, or he was a pastor. So as a fan told me, taught me all those years ago. So that's really, in essence, that's basically what I do. So
stories.
Anyone does
what a great job, right?
Yeah, tell stories. And anyone does a call with me, like a Zoom call, I can't help myself. Got to tell stories to illustrate points. Not trying to sell anything, just to bring the conversation to life.
Yeah.
But that's it. That's me.
And that's such a talent, and has to be learned, as you did, right? So
yeah,
not necessarily something
you need to learn.
We learn.
I don't know if it may be a little bit of talent is required, but I think it's more just a practiced skill, a skill that you've learned. You've made the commitment. You believe that it's the right thing to do.
Right.
That's the key. It's the belief, isn't it? It's always the belief. I was failing in that first week knocking on doors because I didn't have enough belief. But after I went out with Stan, he engendered some belief in me. I made the commitment. I made the decision to double down, dig deep, and go for it. Yeah. And that's more or less what I've been trying to do ever since. But if the belief, it's one thing to tell stories, but if you don't tell them with panache and conviction, they're going to fall. Those stories are going to fall on deaf ears. And so this is in like the face-to-face realm. Right. But also if you're creating content like a case study, we do a lot of case studies and things like that, enhanced testimonials, bringing these little stories, because most testimonials are crap, in my opinion. So what we've got to do is elevate them, right? And then convey the belief through the written word. So whether it's written word, spoken word, video, doesn't matter. Yeah. The principle's the same, more or less. Principle's
the same. What great skill sets that we all need to develop if we want to be successful in business, right? Kim, let's...
especially now in the age of AI.
Yeah,
It's,
absolutely.
to me, it's a huge differentiator.
Yeah.
The ability to tell stories, especially your stories,
Right.
but also the stories of other people.
Right.
Because those AI tools, they're scavengers. They can't steal all my stories because I haven't shared all of them yet.
Yeah.
So
Right.
they don't appear. A lot of them do not appear in public spaces. It's just when I'm talking to people,
Right.
on Zoom or
Right.
something like that comes a story, anecdotes, analogies, whatever.
Yeah, those experiences in our lives. Kim, let's switch gears here, and I'd like to have you introduce each of our panelists and have them take 2 to 3 minutes each to tell a bit about their journey, who they serve, and why. So if you would handle introducing each of them, I would appreciate it.
Okay, well, who should I start with?
Wherever you'd like.
I'm thinking, okay, well, on my screen, I don't know how it looks on your screen, to my left is Lisa.
All right.
So start with Lisa. Lisa, we've known each other via LinkedIn for several years. I should have checked that. I'd say it'd be at least 3 years now. And we have been, it's like tag team. We've been supporting each other's content for all of that time.
Awesome.
And so it's amazing how you can kind of get to know people just through an activity like that.
Yeah.
And I think we did a call a while ago, maybe 2 years ago or something like that. We've had a few chats, quite a few in the lead up to Christmas as well in the DMs. And then before that, in I think it was like July, Lisa ran a session like a Zoom session, and I joined that session. There are about 20 people on the call, most of them women, which is great, fine for me, I don't mind. I think there were 2 men, and I was one of them, if you call me a man. But it was a great session. I really enjoyed it, and we've just stayed in touch ever since. So Lisa has been through some transformations, you could say. And you've probably connected with her already, but just let me I'm just reading straight from her LinkedIn profile here, which I think is fairly representative. Bringing humanity back to business. She talks about this a lot. Authenticity earns trust. Trusts builds business. Wow, that's pretty good, isn't it? Authenticity. And then under her name, the headline there, Strategic Identity Advisor for High Achieving Leaders at Pivotal Decision Points. Yeah, that's kind of, if you read her content, she stays pretty close to, to those themes, to those objectives. So that's my introduction for Lisa. She's a great lady.
And let's hear from Lisa. Let's have her share a bit about herself. And
okay, Lisa, over to you.
Why. All right, over to me. Thank you, Kim, for the invitation, and Regina also for co-hosting. So just a little bit about me is I started, like many people who grew up in the Midwest, there wasn't a lot to do, but education was really important. So I started as a teacher. There is no greater training ground for marketing than to be at the front of a class trying to sell an idea to a captive group of people who don't want to be there, right? So I was a middle school teacher, a high school teacher. I walked away from that, ended up being one of the founders of a private school, and I did admissions, marketing, enrollment. So basically marketing and sales, communication. And what I found is, when people came in, I wanted to know, are you running to this solution or are you running from something? And so through a series of discoveries and just questions, like Kim talks about asking questions, what I found is the message was really important. So when I left that role and started my company 8 years ago, I was a messaging strategist. And so like I think many people on this call in this area of marketing, as we work with people, you want to know what makes you different. Well, the answer I got was, oh, I give great customer service, which is the baseline, right?
Right.
So I'm a person, I like to get to the root of what's really going on. So as I ask, what differentiates you in the marketplace? And I discovered people were suffering from insignificance and obscurity. They didn't really know. So as I continued to go down that road and find these people to understand who they really were, not who the world told them to be, I found this niche of people that has really been growing recently, Regina, is people who are already successful. You look at them, they look like they have a great business. They sound like they have a great business, but quietly they're outgrowing the version of success they built. Most of my clients aren't stuck because they lack talent or opportunity. They're stuck because the thing that once made them valuable no longer feels like the truth of who they are. So my work sits at the intersection of identity, message, and momentum. I help people locate that one quality that keeps showing up in success across their life and career. And it's often the thing they've taken for granted. And I translate it into, all right, this is who you really are. This is why you're doing what you're doing. This is your life journey that you've been on your entire life, but you just didn't know because it's been covered up with this mask of performance. And so it might look like a movement, a speaking platform, a thought leadership position, or a clean exit from their corporate that really goes work that really fits. Wow. So that's what I do. And I love partnering with all kinds of people. So thanks for the opportunity to talk about collaboration.
Excellent. All right. Kim.
Right. Okay. Got a few little glitches happening here behind the scenes, but I am listening. I think pretty much sorted them out now. All right. Now, Jenni. Okay. Hi, Jenni. Great to see you. We've been sort of chatting. Pardon?
I said, good to see you.
All right. Sorry. Yeah, we've been sort of, once again, via LinkedIn. It's LinkedIn is a great, I think it's a pretty good networking platform, at least a good way to kind of meet people. So I met Jenni 2 or 3 years ago on LinkedIn, seen her content at different times, and we've interacted a bit in the DMs, and I kind of like her style. And the thing here on her profile, find your weird. I love that. That really stands out. It's like it's a point of difference, isn't it? Because I think it's people look at it, what's happening? Curiosity kills the cat. I better read some more here. Find your weird, right? And to me, it sounds kind of intriguing and on one hand, but compelling as well. So Jenni's got an interesting background. Before she started helping people with their marketing and content and different areas like that, she was practicing marketing in another business, weren't you, Jenni?
Yeah, I actually have a marketing background. I worked for advertising agencies before I started my donut business. And so when I started my donut business, I had no business experience, no baking experience, but I had marketing experience. And so I told a lot of stories in my business. Instead of selling all the time, I decided to focus on my customers and tell their stories instead. And it was really successful. So as far as just getting the word out and marketing myself organically like that. So that's how I help people find their weird now, which I help creative founders with that. And basically it's to help them get remembered when they're not in the room, so that they get opportunities like this, like being on a panel or speaking opportunities or something like that. And so it's basically Find Your Weird is basically finding that thing that makes you unique and then saying it over and over and over again so that people don't forget. That's basically what it is.
Love it.
Yeah, terrific. Yeah, unique. What makes them unique? But using the word weird is more powerful than using the word unique, isn't it?
Definitely.
Yeah, it's a play on words. It's not about being weird just to be weird and get
No.
attention. It's more about finding what makes you different, what makes you stand out, what makes you weird. You're weird because no one else has your experience. No one else has your story. And so if you lean into your lived experience, then it's weird because it's so different than everyone else.
Very good.
Absolutely. Love it.
Thank
All
you.
right. Shall I move on to the next?
Keep on going.
introduction?
Who's next?
Okay. Okay, this one will be Andrew. Andrew, I believe, hails from upstate New York.
Ah,
That's right,
That
isn't
is
it,
right.
Andrew? Yes. Andrew, well, just once again, looking at his LinkedIn profile, he runs a company called Indigo, and content is definitely one of his specialties, but digital marketing in general is probably the broad heading that could be used. You and your team build websites as well. That's right, isn't it, Andrew?
Thanks. That is a good introduction, and story, as others have spoken about, is also sort of central. I started a web development agency very early in the internet days. As a matter of fact, we started doing other things, set-top boxes and laptop presentations, because the web, as we know it today, really wasn't that big yet. And the real watershed moment for me came when the search engines, notably Google, stopped paying attention to all the sort of black hat tricks of the day, like white text on a white background, and really started paying attention to what actual content was on the screen. And since I'm really not a coder by trade, and I am certainly nobody's idea of a graphic designer, I'm a message person, and that's when things really came together for me and for Indigo. Over the years, we've worked with lots of different businesses, lots of different industries, but over the last few years, we've really focused on mission-driven businesses, folks who have a double or triple bottom line focus on their world, hoping to make the world a better place, or their community a better place, or even just their industry a better place. And that's helped us bring a lot of different things together. And we do try and come at it from what is typically not given a lot of respect, I'll say, as a generalist, coming in with a broad overview and saying, hey, we're not here to sell you just what we do ourselves. We're here to try and figure out what the problem is that you're trying to solve, and what technology and marketing technology tools are going to do the best job of solving that problem, and bring in partners where we need to. Because there are certainly a lot of things in the marketing world, like pay-per-click advertising or SEO, where if you're not doing them all day, every day, you're just not going to be very good at them. And those aren't things that we do all day, every day.
Yeah, you talk about mission-driven businesses. Although you work with for-profit type of businesses, you have also done quite a bit of work with not-for-profits, haven't you?
Yes, we have. Our that sort of do-gooder mentality kind of leads us in that direction. But I think the mission-driven businesses are really our passion, because there is. It's almost like cheating when it comes to marketing, because there's always a great story, sort of baked right in, and you can build the marketing around that story. So again, we come back to story.
Yeah, and a question I haven't been asking, but we'll find out soon enough, but I'll ask you anyway. Ideal client at the moment, what sort of clients you're wanting to acquire in 2026?
Definitely mission-driven businesses, nonprofits as well, but broader small businesses are also in our wheelhouse. We work mostly with B2B companies, and mostly in the $2 to $25 million range. So solopreneurs are rare for us to work with, really small organizations, and anything larger than that, we're typically not a great fit for us.
very good.
Right. Okay, well, that's great, Andrew. Who we got next? Okay, we got Marie. Hey, Marie.
Hi, how you doing? You gonna
Yeah,
do my-
good. Marie is not from the US, not from North America. She is from London town in the UK. And I've known Marie for, I don't know, 2 years or something like that. And we are in I wouldn't say constant contact, but usually several times a week. And and Marie has a business that specializes in case studies, which is kind of similar to what we do. And she's an ex-journalist. She was a journalist for more than a decade. That's right, isn't it, Marie?
Yep.
About 12 years, something like that. 14 years.
10 years.
10. Sorry. Okay. Yeah, and I mention that because journalists are asking questions. They're good at asking questions. If they're a good journalist, they take a more of a forensic approach. And I think this is definitely helps her with her doing customer stories and case studies, etc. In the commercial world, and she can interview customers and find out why they bought, and the real hidden motivators, dig deep, and you get that working properly, you can write a great story for the client. So ideal client for you, Marie?
Oh, small agencies at the moment. I'm trying
Small
to
agencies.
small agencies, B2B agencies.
Yep.
Yeah, I'm trying.
So that's marketing agencies.
Yeah.
Marketing agencies, SEO agencies.
Yeah, AI agencies,
type of agency?
digital agencies. Anybody that has case studies, basically.
Yeah. All right, that's great. We'll be hearing more from you soon. And then finally, Kat. Now, Kat is from she's from Germany, Berlin. That's right, isn't it?
Well, I'm British, but I live in Germany. So close.
Pardon?
I'm British, but I live in Germany. Oh, can you hear
you're
me?
in Germany.
Yeah, that's right. Can you
Oh,
hear me?
okay. You're a Brit. You're English.
Kind of, yeah. It's a long story. We'll have another time.
Yeah. Well. Yeah. That's interesting how you ended up in Germany. But are you enjoying your experience in Germany?
Yes, very much. I came here just for a holiday for 1 month and just ended up staying because I was remote working. So enjoying it quite a lot, I guess.
Yes. And you're also a content person, aren't you?
Exactly, yes. So I'm a positioning strategist and I work with service businesses to understand what makes them unique, what makes them stand out against their competitors, but then also how to communicate that effectively. So my background is in UX, web, and brand design. And over about 10 years of working in different industries, I noticed that all of my clients struggled with the same thing, which was the clarity around their positioning, like what makes them unique. Fortunately for me, that was the part of the process, the web design process, that I really enjoyed the most. So recently I've pivoted my business from web design into consulting, and now I help businesses with positioning, messaging, and copywriting.
Excellent.
Yeah, I couldn't hear everything that you said there, but just give us a little bit of an idea, the sort of the perfect fit client for you.
So I work with entrepreneurs and smaller businesses primarily. I believe that business is the best way to make positive change in the world. So I really work with, similar to Andrew, mission-driven or impact businesses.
Excellent.
Very good. Well, I think that's it for the introductions. Back to you, Regina.
Awesome. Thank you. So very interesting. And I'm so excited to hear all of the things that you're going to bring to this conversation. Already, just telling your experiences, you've brought tremendous value. So, but my question I think that we're going to start with is, since all of you are really good at asking questions and getting stories and that kinds of things, if someone is considering a collaboration with someone else, what would be some good questions for that person to ask of this potential collaborative partner before deciding that they're going to collaborate? What things would you want to know about them that to make sure that you're aligned properly? That, because it's really hard if you go into a collaboration and then discover that your values aren't the same, that you're not really aligned, and you have to terminate that collaboration. It's not an easy thing to do. Doesn't feel good, but you have to, right? Sometimes. So what kinds of questions should people be asking potential collaborative partners before entering into an engagement with them? What are your thoughts? And everybody just feel free to chime in.
Regina, I have one that I usually look at is when I'm speaking with a potential strategic partner. I am looking for what are the holes in the information that they need from a client that perhaps I could refer them to, like what does their client need to have when they come to them in order to have a successful engagement?
Mm.
And then also, what is it after they're done working with them, does their client usually need next? So I'm looking at the bookends of services to make that client's journey smooth and seamless.
Right.
So if they come to, and that's how I got into my work, is I realized people came and they didn't know who they really were. They didn't know what they cared about. You ask their why, and they would say, my why is my family. Well, that's not, it goes deeper, right? So my question is, who do you need to work with before you are ready to work with your client? And who needs to work with your client afterwards?
I like that. Anybody else have something to add to that?
Yeah.
Oh, Marie, we're not hearing you. You're muted, I think. I think you're muted from your end.
Okay.
There
Can
you
hear
go.
me now?
Yep.
I would ask what their expectations are for the collaboration, and whether that aligns with your expectations, I think is a really important point. Because if you're going in opposite directions, then it's not going to work at all, is it?
Yeah.
Yeah, similar to Marie, I think it's really important to understand their values and what they really want to get from this. But then also from a business point of view, how they like to receive feedback. Because when you're collaborating with someone, there's naturally going to be a point where you need to challenge each other.
Yes.
And do you like having kind of arguments? Do you need to take it softly? Like those sort of questions, just to understand how to communicate with each other.
That's really important. And I think that gets overlooked a lot.
Mm-hmm.
And then later on, you're kind of feeling like you're walking on pins and needles sometimes, trying to have that communication because you didn't ferret that out to start with. I think that's a really good one. I think these are all great. Yeah. Let's hear some more. What other things?
I would add that sort of the next step in what some folks have been saying is sort of scope and responsibilities, which is clearly a conversation you're going to have a little bit later. But making sure, since we often collaborate with folks where there is overlap between our expertise and theirs, want to make sure we understand going in, hey, this is what we want you to do. This is what you want us to do. And there's some fuzziness in the middle that we'll have to work out before we're having that conversation in front of the end client, which is not comfortable.
Not good, right? Jenny, what are your thoughts?
I do research before I collaborate, and I look them up and I Google them and I look at their LinkedIn content and I see if we have any commonalities between the two of us. And then I usually try to understand what their goals are and then how I fit into those goals.
Excellent. How about you, Kim?
Yeah, well, I look for two types of collaborative partners, referral partners, whatever you want to call it. One is a channel partner, and the
Right.
other is, you hear me? Yeah?
Yes.
Yeah. And the other is, well, I just coined a term, authority partner. So the channel partner is someone who's in an aligned industry to mine. Okay. So, well, I give an example outside of my industry, but let's think of, say, an accountant who would be, so a channel partner is somebody who is servicing the same types of clients that you would love to have as clients for yourself. So an accountant, for instance, might link up with a lawyer because the lawyer is dealing with, if the accountant wants more business clients,
Right.
he would link up, he would aim to link up with a lawyer who, services businesses.
Right.
Another might be a business consultant. He's not an accountant, but he's servicing businesses, business consultants, even a business coach or something like that. So they're channel partners. Agencies can do the same sort of things. We do the same sort of things as well. And then you've got the so other than channel partners is what I call authority partners. I've had experiences with a couple of them, people who are not necessarily running a business at the moment. There are examples that I could cite, not just for myself, but for others that have done a similar thing, where they've linked up with somebody who had a good reputation in the industry, but he's retired now. He still has a lot of respect. He has influence, authority, and he knows a lot of people. So he's well connected, even though he might be retired, but he's still active out there in the business community. So he's not really a channel partner because he's not servicing clients,
Right.
like a true channel partner would be doing. But he has influence, he has connections, and if I talk about the zone of genius, so we talk about making sure we're aligned. When I'm talking with somebody, I want to know about their zone of genius, and yes, I want to hear the stories, because if that invigorates me, if that excites me, well, it's much easier for me to go into bat for my referral partner to one of my contacts and connections. So if let's say the authority partner, he's not really a channel partner, but he or she still has connections and influence. Maybe they're a manager, they're a wage slave, but they're a well-respected manager and with a little bit of an entrepreneurial instinct. They like what I'm doing. I like their attitude. One thing leads to another, and maybe they want to start a side gig or something like that. And so they gravitate to me because they think, well, maybe I can help them there. But they can maybe they know some businesses, that smaller businesses or whatever, that within, there's just all sorts of opportunities can come from those two categories, channel partners and authority partners. So, but yeah, alignment is really important, and setting the ground rules. I think when I kicked off my referral partnership program, phase one, let's call it that, about 6 months ago, my biggest mistake was that I didn't make clear the ground rules, because I wasn't completely sure the ground rules myself. Now I am.
Yeah. And that kind of leads to the next question I was going to ask. The perfect lead in. Were you looking at my notes?
Yeah, behind you.
Yeah. And that is, what are some of the challenges that you've had with collaborative relationships or partnerships? How did you resolve it, and how did you prevent it from happening again?
Yeah, that's a really good question. And I've asked a similar question of myself many times over the last few months, and I've pretty much resolved it, I believe. Challenges were, one of the challenges I can think of, I won't name names, but I can think of somebody who is in the financial industry, let's put it that way. And she's a great lady, tremendous lady, and she's well respected by her clients. And I would love one or two of her clients because I know I can transform the way they voice themselves to their marketplace. And she introduced me. So we went through the process, and she introduced me to plenty of people. Well, when I say plenty, she referred me and endorsed me, did little videos to introduce me and all of this to at least 15 people, something like that, 15 to 20 people. That was about 3 months ago, 3 or 4 months ago. And to date, not one appointment, and obviously not one client. Why? So I ruminated on that. I thought about it. Well, why wouldn't they even do a call with me? Some of these introductions.
Yeah.
Oh, sorry. I did do a call with one of them, and she had an appalling attitude.
Oh.
So there's a clue. She had an appalling attitude. But the people that she gave me that I really wanted to talk to, just no traction. And I've come to the conclusion that it's a posture problem on her part. She doesn't posture herself well. They love her for what she does for them, for their business in the financial area. Okay, it's accounting and all that. But they don't see her as an overarching, respected, like, business consultant who is holistic, looks at the business and say, look, I've been looking at your website. There's some problems with your website. I'm not a marketing person. I'm not a content person, but I think you should do something about it because I know that you'll be losing customers. And it would be remiss of me not to mention this to you.
Right.
Will that pique their interest? I'd say so. And
Should.
they say, tell me more. Say, well, I've got a guy, blah, blah, blah. So that was my error. Number one, she didn't have enough posture. And number two, I should have been sensitive about that and given her more tools, more ammunition so she could present a little story in a more compelling way.
Very good. Anybody else had an experience that they'd like to share?
I'd like to pick up on something Kim said I think we often neglect as we're in business to think about we really have two different clients. We have the people we want to work with, the people who pay us, exchange money for the service, right? But we also have our network. And you know the saying, your network is your net worth.
Yes.
Your network is also your sales team.
Mm-hmm.
And so for your sales team to understand who you are, the value you bring, the problem that they need to be listening for. And the last point is the readiness. So Kim, I imagine when you saw those 15 emails with video introductions, you know, for me, I would have been so excited.
Baby.
Oh, yeah.
Exactly. But I think the point about that is she might have been doing that to help you, but was she presenting you to people where she had expressed the need and they were then ready for the introduction?
Yeah.
So I think that's the missing point. And that's something that I have come to learn. Just because you see the connection between two people and you make the introduction, if you don't tell them why, what is their motivation? And it's almost like you're giving them that first point of conversation.
Excellent.
Yeah, exactly right. So yeah, we've come to the same conclusion. That's exactly where I'm at now. So Mark II, my referral partnership program, Mark II, I think this year will address those problems pretty much. So I'm excited about it.
I see lots.
But you've got to go through the pain before you can get to the gain. It's not always doesn't always work.
Hopefully we learn from the pain.
Well, yeah, you do. You learn from pain, a bit of soul searching, and it hurts a bit, but you'll be stronger out the other end, won't you?
Yeah.
Providing you keep going, you've got to double down, as I say.
And that goes back to your very first part in your introduction about perseverance, right? That,
Yeah.
the thing that
Yeah.
made you more
You've got to
successful
double
when you were
down. You
doing the
can't
door to
quit.
door was that perseverance.
Yeah. I mean, if we see our business as a sort of a worthy project, we can't quit. If we're going through a rough patch or something like that, we just cannot quit. We have to double down, find a way. There must be a way. There's a solution out there. Who should I talk to? Maybe I need someone as a sounding board, whatever. And there is a solution. There's always a solution. That's my belief anyway.
Yeah. And applying that to collaborations, let's say your first collaboration out the door isn't that successful. You don't quit, right? You fine tune, as we've all done. You figure out what went wrong, you fine tune it, and go for it again, right? And make it even better the next time around. We could go on and on, I know, but we are out of time. So we're going to move into our wrap up round. And Kim, I'm going to ask you to run the wrap up round, if you would, please. And what you'll do is call on each person for a brief summary of their final thoughts on collaboration and their contact information. And while you're doing that, I'll be posting their contact information into the public chat. Okay. So take it away.
That's great. Okay. Well, the first one I see just on your left is Kat. So, thoughts, Kat?
I guess for me, my favorite thing about collaboration is having the sounding board, as you mentioned before, and uncovering those blind spots that you can't see. I think a lot of us, when we're working in our industry, we're kind of in a little bubble, and you kind of assume, you don't realize what you don't know. So having someone to, put up a mirror to you and like point out what you're doing wrong, maybe things that you don't know, is really valuable.
And what's the that's great. That makes perfect sense. So how can people contact you? Are you already connected with everyone here already, or not?
I think I'm connected with everyone. Yeah, yesterday I connected. But yeah, on LinkedIn I'm Kat Irwin, and my website is katirwindesign.com, kat-irwin-design.com, which you can find on my LinkedIn profile.
That's fabulous. All right, I'll move on to Jenni. Your thoughts about collaboration and so on. Hello?
Did you say me? I don't know.
Yes.
Yeah.
Jenni.
I said Jenni.
Sorry. I love collaborating because you can expose yourself to their audience. They can expose themselves to your audience, and you can get different points of view. I just think it's the coolest thing, and to just get to know each other, especially if you're competitors in a sense, because we all collaborate anyway, and it's nice to have that relationship that you can build with other people at the same time. So you can find me at LinkedIn. I'm at Jenni Reher, and my website is jennireher.com.
Yeah, that's great. And just a word on competition. If we think more holistically, bigger picture kind of thing, kind of way of thinking, no one here is a competitor to each other. That's the way I look at it.
Yeah.
There are so many opportunities to help each other in non-conflicting ways.
Absolutely.
That's my thought. Andrew, your thoughts on collaborations and referral partnerships and so on?
2 minds are better than one, typically. That's my favorite part of collaboration. I agree with what we've already been talking about, but I love that interchange of ideas and finding new ways to do the same things you've been doing, but maybe from a slightly different perspective, or just a different way to get to the solution we all know we want to get to. So that to me is very valuable. And actually probably 20% of our work is through partners partly because that's how I started the business when I was sort of an accidental entrepreneur, or an entrepreneur, but an accidental salesperson. I split from a partner who was handling all the business development. And I thought, well, geez, I don't know what I'm doing. I could end up like Kim as a 19-year-old, knocking doors and not getting anywhere. So I thought, well, if I can sell once and gain a partner, and they're a repeat source of business, boy, wouldn't that be fantastic? And that has its challenges, but it's still been a great way for us to build the business and to build some really great relationships, friendships, and collaborations. So my contact information, I am, as with everyone here, on LinkedIn. I think we've all connected, which is really great. Andrew Schulkind. You can find a cousin of mine named Andy Schulkind as well, who's also a marketer. Andigo.com, ANDIGO is our website. And look forward to staying in touch with all of you.
Fabulous. Thanks, Andrew. Marie, your thoughts?
Yeah, for me, I find myself, I'm a learner. I love learning. I've been learning. I still learn new things every day. And that's what collaborations help me with. And, I'm going to learn about all of your businesses in more detail, I hope, next week, next year. And it's just fine-tuning those collaborations, I find, is really, really important for everybody. And just working together and building something that's just come from today, just come from talking to each other. I think that's really, really valuable. You can find me on LinkedIn. I'm at Marie Dill. Yeah, that's me.
Awesome.
Fabulous. And finally, Lisa.
I look at collaboration as how can we make it a win for everyone. Even if we do the same thing, there are people that I work with that probably other people do not work with. And the same thing, there are people that may want to work with me, but I'm not a good fit. So I need to have people to refer to. So how can we make it a win for everyone? And, really, my work begins upstream before branding, marketing, or strategy can actually work. So I'm so excited to connect with all of you. And the audience can find me on LinkedIn as well. And my website is lisamcguire.com.
And I just have to say, Lisa, you espouse something that I preach as well, which is win-win-win. It needs to be a win for you, a win for me, and a win for everybody else involved. So whether that's a client or other partners or whatever, it's got to be that win-win-win, or I'm not interested. So, and Kim, your final thoughts.
Me?
Your final thoughts, Kim? Mm-hmm.
Oh, well, I was just going to say the mere fact that you have masterminded this program, this collaborative networking type of program, indicates that you're very much a pay it forward type of person, which always gets a thumbs up from me. So yeah, I want to thank you for making this little event possible. I enjoyed it. It was fun, and I learnt a few things as well. And that's great. Just one thing, there is one thought that I had when Andrew was talking, because let's say you're the main group of people that you work with are solopreneurs or very small businesses, but somebody like Andrew is looking for businesses that are a bit bigger than that. It doesn't mean to say that someone who is mainly working with small businesses, micro businesses, doesn't have connections to or ins to founders of larger businesses.
Yeah,
and I've been I'm working with a client at the moment, and she has pathways. She's got a SaaS type business, and she has pathways into the corporate sector, both in Australia and also in the US. So who knows where it can take you.
Yeah. Kim, I didn't get your contact information to post into the public chat. Would you mind popping that in there for me while I wrap up?
Yep.
just put it into that everyone chat that's there.
Mhm.
And thank you all for being here. Thank you, Kim, for being our guest co-host today and bringing this amazing group of folks, this panel, to have some further conversation about collaboration. I really enjoyed getting to meet each of you and learn a bit more about what you're doing, and delighted to have a new relationships, several of them. So with that, we'll say goodbye to our audience. We appreciate you joining us again, and we hope you'll come back and join us again on Collaboration Conversations. Bye for now.
Thank you.